consistent. Sometimes it's not consistent, and that can be a problem, especially like if your company has certain values, and then you send comes out today sounding like one thing, and then the next day you send comes out and it sounds like a completely different thing, and they're not aligned and they're not matching your values. It's confusing to people, and also it affects your brand. So there's just little things that people miss out on. So that consistency in tone, that intention being there every time, there needs to be a reason for your comms. And there has to be some sort of objective you're expecting people to either act on or some important information you want to communicate and embed. Otherwise, it's just going to be noise. And one of the things that I also noticed, I mean, if I was going to look at one of in my previous roles, we sent one email the time we're about to announce a new process we wanted to implement. The first time we sent just emails. And then we found out about 2 weeks later that more than half the team don't check their emails regularly.
Hmm.
Some people, for you to actually let them know that there's important information, you need to communicate with them via different platforms. So we had to think about the strategy of how we communicated with the team to ensure that we were being really inclusive and getting everybody at the same time and making sure that everyone was aware. So you couldn't just send an email and think, yeah, okay, it's done. I've sent an email. You had to also make sure you sent the Slack messages. Whatever platforms people had that they used to get information, you sent various versions of the same message. And this is made easier now with AI because I can now sort of write the prompt and say, okay, I need to send a message that's the core part of the message is X. I want this action, but I need to have various formats, one email, one going to Slack, so that the same outcome of engagement is achieved. And AI would do that much faster than in the past. I would have to think, how do I get this across and make sure that it's still in getting what I wanted to do for all of the platforms? So there are things I mean, real life problems that we have that are being solved, and of course, a lot of time being saved now.
Absolutely. And I think I just, that's super on point. Like consistency is key. The fact that there's so much noise. And I just want to add one more thing, which is that, most HR leaders, obviously any program you deploy, anything you launch, comms is the key, right? Like whatever it's a new HR system, it's a new learning program, whatever it is, comms is the key. You don't get it right, it's not gonna land. It's not gonna, activate or engage people. But what actually is challenging is that most HR, obviously, I think most HR leaders are not email marketers. Email marketers are email marketers. Most other people don't know the art of email marketing. And the art of email marketing effectively is cutting through noise and getting your point across in very creative ways. Now, with AI, an HR person who's never done email marketing can be a very creative email marketer. And that's what we're going to show you today and help you cut through the noise, whether you're using that creative on email or on Slack. So let's dive in straight into the details. So our first use case is actually going to be a use case we have actually implemented for one of our customers. But first, we're going to show you live. And this use case is going to be around how do you actually create an email campaign, a comms campaign for a new learning program that you are launching. So the use case is around HR needs to drive enrollment for a new leadership training program. Um, how do we use AI to actually communicate it and engage better? So I'll hand over to Ilham. Ilham, if you are ready to dive straight in, share your screen, and let's slowly take our listeners through what we're talking about here, step by step. And obviously, anyone has any question, this is meant to be interactive. If if something's too fast or too slow, let us know. And if there's a particular angle you want us to take, let us know that as well. So, Ilham, over
Yeah,
to you.
fab. Thank you, Saurav. Thank you, Rosie. So before we dive into today's demo, let me just quickly explain why I'm using Gemini today. I know in previous webinars I've showed you Claude. That is still my favorite tool, but here's some things about Gemini that will really help you. So Google claims that its models are trained to have higher accuracy than others out there. Google also claims that Gemini is trained to create content that is inclusive, respectful and aligned with your values as well. So it has that sort of lens to it. Then also, best of all, it has advanced video capabilities to create videos, to create high quality images. It's perfect for internal comms. And then last, and my favorite as well, is that it's fast and efficient. So let's dive into the first demo, learning program launch and nurture. So we all know how important it is to get employees enrolled, engaged in learning, but the manual effort can be so draining and take ages. So for this demo, we've chosen the example of a leadership program, and our goal is to create a 3-touch email campaign. You can imagine how long that would take if I was to do that with pen and paper. With AI, this is the prompt that we've used. I've told it to act like a copywriter, write a 3-touch email. Email 1, what should it be about? Email 2, email 3. Keep the tone consistent, upbeat. You can even go a step further and actually feed it previous emails that you've sent out so it can match the tone of that. And I also gave it a theme. So inspired by comic books, I want my people to become a super leader. So I want that tone, the themes weaved throughout, and then this was the response. So it's given me email 1 about the launch. What does it cover? How I can hyperlink it. Don't miss your chance to level up. So on and so forth. So I'm happy with the copy now. I'm super happy with the copy. I need to copy it across. So that's my next sort of challenge. So what I can do is I've asked it to create a easily copyable and pastable sort of format directly into Gmail so that I can send it out to participants immediately. I've also told it to incorporate my branding, the color palette of 5 Minutes AI, and I've told it to make it desktop and mobile friendly as well. So it's structured it in this way with all the colors, all the branding, all the buttons. Again, this is just from one prompt. Now, all I need to do is copy this and paste it into Gmail over here. And ta-da, just like that, I've got a template for my program for me to ping out that's compatible with their phones, with their desktop view, and I don't need to create these buttons, add the colors. It's just done that for me in a few minutes. Now, if I want to go a step further and really own in on that superhero theme, I've asked it to create me visuals for the superhero style thing that I'm working on. So, for example, here, super leader program, I've told it to basically create a comic strip. If I just press generate comic strip, Gemini is able to give me a whole comic strip that I can also tap in and put into my email as well. Of course, I can give it the text as well. But the idea is it's created that format, it's created this imagery that I can easily add in, promote across the board, and have as a really great email nurture.
Yep.
So, Rosie, what do you think about communicating learning programs with AI?
I think it has immense opportunity, and I suppose there's a lot of capacity there to make it really fun. And I think, especially when you're doing a learning program, you want people to feel excited, engaged, about what you're proposing. I think if you had like, such strong visuals, it would be memorable. It would make people remember that, oh, okay, we have this program starting. And of course, if that messaging is consistent and done in a cadence that just reminds people, it just sticks. I think AI has a lot to offer in terms of making things extra memorable, and also presenting things in a way that is easier for people to digest, and kind of cuts out all the fluff, if you like, and you can sort of learn quicker from it. I love it. I think I'm quite biased, to be fair.
Hey, Elam, I have just to kind of take a step back and because I actually this is really cool and it's been really interesting for me to learn as well. I did not know that it actually can create a format that you can just copy and paste in Gmail. I think there's some little operational nuances here which I think we should share. So just if you take a step back. So by the way, guys, everyone, we will send the prompt banks and all the documents. So don't worry if you can't skim through the prompt that fast because it was quite fast, but we will send it all, so don't worry. So I think if you take a step back here, we basically gave at a structure level, hey, create a 3-part program for me, and it gave you the content of the program We also asked it to create a theme around comic books, right? And then it basically, what was the second thing we asked it? What was the second iteration we did? What did we ask it to create a Gmail type format for mobile and desktop? Is that what we asked?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So
perfect.
we zoom in to the prompt here. So I said, I'm happy with a copy. Now for email one, please turn it into a dynamic visual
Great.
engaging email that I can paste directly into Gmail and send to participants.
Okay, perfect. And this is again for others. I think this is whether you're using Gmail or Outlook, or whether you're using Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT. I think the key is to try this because again, the fundamentals of all LLMs are pretty similar. They're good at certain things over others, but between Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, these are really the best in class everywhere. And then you may use Outlook, you may use MailChimp, but again, the question is instead of saying Gmail, you may want to say MailChimp or whatnot. So, but it's a structure. And the second thing is, I think the iterative side, which is very, very important. What you've shown us that when you iterate with AI, which is you get the best results, like you would do with and any assistant. So awesome. I want to quickly show you guys what we did with one of our partners that we launched a program with. It really brings it to life. So I'm just going to share my desktop very, very quickly. So we've been running an AI program with one of our partners, HP, around product management, 6 modules. And what we did, which is really, really cool, and we had I'm on 100% completion rates and all that, phenomenal. What we did is basically the campaign theme was really around classic PM and AI super PM. So AI enabled PMs, product managers, and classic PMs. So we used Matrix as a theme there, and then created basically for every module, it was kind of created like a comic strip. And now imagine previously you would have to pay an agency so much money to do this, a digital agency. Now, as an HR leader, you can actually create this kind of theme. And then, they promoted it, where every theme, every module is like, hey, there's a little imagery coming around. So this is an HR person can do this now, which previously was impossible, right? Without enabling an agency, and adds pretty much close to zero cost. So I wanted to just show you some examples, lots of imagery, superhero, blah, blah, blah. And this is a real example where we brought it to life. So so I want to just bring that. This is we've implemented it at scale and done it for real. It's just not theory. Over to you, Elam. Let's now we're talking about the second use case, which is about hybrid work policy change pack. So Elam, take it away.
Yeah, so now we're going to look at Gemini and how it can be used to handle policy changes, which is a critical communication that HR teams are always managing, always trying to stay on top of. And it can also lead to a lot of confusion, right? Which often translates to more work for HR folks, more questions. So here we are going through how you can make a comms pack on Gemini to quickly post out and give it to your people. So this is the prompt that we're working here with here. So your HR comms partner, again, we're giving it a role. We are using plain English. We just don't want any confusion at all. The goal is to create a policy change pack and within different formats as well. So going back to what Rosie was saying at the start, we're creating an email, a Teams post in case they miss it, and then also an FAQ table with answers to avoid them reaching out to you if they can just get the information from the comms pack that we're creating. The steps I've given it is to summarize the policy in 120 words at 8th grade reading level. Again, simplifying it, making it easy to understand, and then the formats. Launch email, Teams announcement, use UK English, FAQ table. So that's the prompt that I gave it. Now let's look at what it's given me back. So here it's given me the first email that I can use. Then it's given me the Teams announcement as well, which I can iterate and ask more about. And then it's given me an FAQ table. And the magic thing about this is that I can export it directly to Sheets. So with Gemini, it has links to slides, Sheets, Google Docs. So any information that you want to paste into another format, you can just export it very quickly. It will create a sheet for me, which I can then ping across to the team as well. But the magic here is with one prompt, I've got 3 channels of communication that is just created. That's just made my life life like so much easier. Now, to double down on this, I've asked it to create a visually engaging and professional infographic that clearly explains this change. It should be easy to understand at a glance and suitable for attaching to internal emails for company-wide distribution. And here I've said your output should be an image. I've just doubled down on that. And here it's created a infographic that explains the flexible work policy. Then I've asked it to again go a bit deeper, reiterated, and now it has all the images that I can ping across, attach to my emails. And again, this becomes very simple for my employees to understand. So not only do they have an email, a Teams post, a FAQ board, but also an infographic with the key details as well. So just one thread has led to 4 different formats for me to communicate this policy change.
You could potentially even create posters, right? In the
Yeah.
company, you could give any format, and the same, you could visually enlarge it.
Absolutely. So again, it's the magic of Gemini. It can create these different formats, multimedia. I can print this out, stick it in the corridor, etc.
And I think there's something that I should probably mention, especially when it comes to policies. One of the tricks that I use, I sometimes would just run, I have an updated sort of list of policies, and I would sometimes just update it into my system and just be like, okay, just keep track of my policies. And then routinely, I would just send them a little prompt going, can you just check if there has been any new changes in regulation that affects my existing policies? And I will get a response basically saying these regulations have come into play. You may want to update this policy and this policy and this policy. So that's another way that you can also use it to sort of stay on top of regulatory changes. And this is especially in the UK, where we've been having a lot of regulatory changes affecting employment rights. This is a great way to sort of also stay on top of things and then be able to communicate those changes and implement those changes into your policies in real time.
Definitely. And I think probably one thing to add there, Rosie, is staying up to date in terms of regulatory changes. Yes, you can get it from AI. And in the past, most of us have been worried about AI hallucinating, but
Mhm.
now AI is actually ChatGPT and the likes are actually browsing the web in real time, and they have historical and real context. So one of the things to potentially add when you ask it for real-time policy updates is to say, hey, can you send me the link where you have seen this change? So you can actually check there is a link
Yeah.
that it is there. So that's one way to validate that it's actually accurate. And I think probably on this policy side, one other thing probably worth mentioning is that you could also even update your existing policies. Now we have created stuff from scratch. One of the way to use it is to upload existing content and ask it to critique it. So, we do that all the time internally when we're looking at even all across, when we're looking at policies or even our web page, our UX, we upload it, take a screenshot, upload it, and say, how would you make it better? And more engaging, and it'll give you results back as well. So it's not just a prompt based. You can upload images and get feedback on your assets. And actually, in some cases with Claude, it'll actually even improve it. It'll take your existing asset and using artifacts, it can actually improve it. So it works both ways. So we have some questions. I want to make sure we address the questions. So I think the question has been around, hey, obviously people really like the examples. Question is around, can you use it just for the pro account or on a non-pro basis? So I think this question, sorry, go ahead. You go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I can answer that. So, yeah, right now I'm using the Pro account on my own Gmail, on my work Gmail, but also I've tested this out on just my normal Gmail using Gemini, and I am able to access Canvas and Deep Research to create these emails with the same prompts as well. So, yes, you are able to use it on a non-pro account.
I think the other thing probably worth checking is it for those guys who are using Gmail, have the Gmail Gemini Pro now automatically comes with Google Workspace. So if your company is using Google Workspace, you actually may already have access to Gemini Pro. We're checking with your IT team. Not a lot of people know about it, but they already have access to it because Google has bundled it in. Second question, Element around, how do you make sure the copy on the infographics is correct without typos?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this thread I really struggled with this morning. But how you can do this is you can give Gemini the exact text that you want to display on screen. That would circumvent it hallucinating any of the text. And then also, it's just about going back and forth with Gemini. It won't get it right 100%, especially if your prompt is really open, like mine was, which was simply create an infographic. If you want to double down, add instructions on how it should look. So, should it have that superhero imagery? Should it have certain text on the display as well? You can circumvent for it hallucinating and having a very accurate sort of text on screen.
So great, thank you. And again, like just to add on to it, like AI is not perfect. Like, it is a probabilistic model. It is not a deterministic model. It will go wrong sometimes. So you just have to, but the benefits of when it goes right far, far outweigh when it goes wrong. So that's just, we have to keep an open mind and we have to keep checking, but hopefully once it designs all the graphics for you, if it's got some text wrong, you can look at it and say, hey, can you please fix it? So that last check, human check, is very, very human in the loop, is absolutely critical. Gemini for Chrome only, no, you can use Gemini. You just need a Google account to use Gemini. So as long as you have Google sign in, you can use any form of Gemini. Vast difference in the different models when using the same prompt. So when you do see a vast difference in the output when using different models with the same prompt, Ilham, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, I don't see vast differences, especially when it comes to these HR use cases. It's just the style of the output. Sometimes I prefer one model or the other. So for Gemini, I find it quite straightforward. It separates out the multi-channel communication. Sometimes I feel like ChatGPT, it takes a bit of back and forth. And in terms of images, I think that's where the vast difference is. With ChatGPT, for example, it may take quite a few reiterations for me to get the image I want. I think Gemini has a faster sort of time in terms of creating images, and it's able to follow up on the feedback well as well. But honestly, the way these tools just change every few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if my answer changes next week and ChatGPT comes out with a really great release and it's really great at creating pictures, same as Gemini.
So awesome, guys. We're right on the dot. It's so awesome to see. We had about, I think, 47 people to begin with. We have 42 staying right to the end. That is very, very impressive, that level of retention. So that we're happy with that. So great, great job, Rosie and Ilham. I've got one last thing to share. So I'll just share my screen very, very quickly again, about very quickly about our offering. So just give me one quick second. Here we go. So again, our 5 minutes is free for HR leaders to use. And this course and content from our previous sessions. So we have courses like this which is around, AI literacy, bias, risk, and responsibility on our platform, AI-powered survey and performance analysis. And we will add this recording also as modules in our platform. Again, it's free for HR leaders to use our platform. So please just sign up. You can get a demo from us and just tell who you're talking to, hey, I want free access. You'll get free access as HR leader to the AI courses and everything else, because our hope is that you like our platform so much that you want it for the rest of your company. But for you, it's always going to be free, and you'll always be able to get AI knowledge from us from free. I think we're having a next session in 3 weeks' time, right, Karan? And it is about how to use AI and micro learning for driving leadership development. This is, again, a real case study, and we're going to get the talent development leader for one of the biggest medtech healthcare manufacturers in the world, Becton Dickinson, to come and present and talk about how she's using AI and micro learning to drive leadership development. The link should be in the chat box, so you can sign up for the next session. And yeah, up there. So HR Declassified episode 4. If you want the previous episodes, you can go to our YouTube channel and make sure to sign up for the next lesson, because again, that'll be a real use case. We've been working with Becton Dickinson for what, 3 months now, launched an awesome leadership program. And I can't tell you how much AI innovation and has gone into it. And it's now rolled out across hundreds of their leaders across APAC. So for those interested in leadership development, I would say this is a must watch. So thank you very much. Thanks, Rosie. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Ilham, and the rest of you for joining us. Please ping us on LinkedIn. If you have any further questions, you have our QR codes. And we look forward to seeing you in the next session.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.